Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. This is Mayor Cornell Harvey, along with the City Commission. We are like to welcome you to the opening of our special call meeting for City Council, dated April the 12th. This is a virtual meeting, and it will be. We have only one item on our meeting for today. So we're going to dispense with invocation and pledge of allegiance. We're gonna get right into our meeting. We have on board with us Commissioner Julie Martin, Commissioner Johnny Cason, Mayor Pro Tem Felicia Harris, and Commissioner Williams that will be on shortly. So therefore, our first item that we're gonna start off with, also we have our city manager and also our assistant city manager, our city clerk, and our city public works director and city engineer. Our first item on our agenda is improvement plans for Gloucester Street. We realizing that we have some issue with this on our last meeting we had. So we will come together today and discuss our formation of our response back to GDOT to let them know what we want to happen on Gloucester Street. We also have individuals streaming live with us on Facebook and also on the Zoom call here. So, and we may, if we have enough time, give them an opportunity to participate as well, to add their comments. So without further ado, city manager, you want to start this off, or would you let the city attorney start it off? Excuse me, city engineer.
Either one. Do you want, what information would you like to be presented first? The information from the DOT project or the information from the city project for the Lanier Gloucester intersection?
Well, I think the Lanier Gloucester intersection, we already know exactly what we want to do. That's not in question. I think what's in question is what DOT wants to do with Gloucester Street with the narrowing it down to just 2 lanes with the center lane for turning. That caused some problem for all of us, as a matter of fact. So
okay, well, Gerald, do you want to?
We're talking about the Glen. We're talking about Lanier and Gloucester too.
Yes.
Well, they both tie in together, and our plans were done in conjunction with the current design for, you know, that GDOT was presenting. So I'm not sure if we would, well, there are some modifications that we'd like to see on our plans as well. Gerald, do you want to go through the GDOT plan?
Can I interject, because actually the Lanier Gloucester intersection, in my thoughts are, there are a couple of points that need to be made to it.
Well, I agree. The thing is, I think at this point, I guess I would like to know what are the major concerns, and I know that there were some expressed at the meeting, but I think the 4-laning or the reduction of lanes for Gloucester, is it a reduction of lanes of the full length of Gloucester, or is there just the area around the intersection where the Lanier Gloucester and where the 17 Gloucester Street starts?
I mean, I don't have a problem with the road diet per se, because I think it does help slow traffic down considerably, which is good. I mean, I went panel by panel of the pages and made some notes, so I don't know how you want to try to approach this.
Okay, well, I guess we can show the panel, I mean the full panels, and if you all want to look at those and then give some comment, then that's fine. Gerald, do you think that would be appropriate?
Regina, may I make one comment before this happens? I want to strongly oppose the entire road diet. It's absolutely a disaster out there, and this is not the time to do it. It is absolutely wrong. It's been wrong. There's been no communication. that the community doesn't know about it, and we need to correct it. We need to get it stopped is what we need to do. I've got a communication from Scott Spence, the superintendent of Glenn County Schools here. Is so small I can barely read it, but I'll try to figure it out and I'll read it to you before this meeting is over. It's absolutely a disaster out there. You cannot do what is being planned here. The whole thing needs to be stopped. It needs to be rethought out. There are parts of it that absolutely or probably have some merit, but others just don't. And the 4-laning, taking 4 lanes out when that is your only road that has 4 lanes in and out is ridiculous. But it's not safe out there to do this. I don't care what they say. You have a problem at peak times, and that's all you have out there. Other than that, you don't have a problem on Gloucester Street. It's a waste of everything. I've used it since I was 8 years old. I can tell you, I walked it, I biked it, everything. I know things have changed, but I didn't come in here to be famous. I didn't come in here to be rich. I think I came in here to make some sense out of Gloucester Street for us. If you'll let me do that, please. And maybe that's my reason to be here. This makes no sense, period.
Thank you, Commissioner Kaysen. That's great. We'll just move right on.
It
And
is. Thank you.
your point is very well taken.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Garo and Regina. Go ahead with y'all proposing.
So Gerald, do you want to start?
Sure, I can start, and we'll start kind of going through the GDOT proposal or their plans, starting on the west end. Can you see that screen?
Yes.
First plan, Oglethorpe to Reynolds Street.
Yes.
Okay. This is, of course, starting on the west end of Gloucester Street. Oglethorpe Street is Bay Street there. See where the traffic flow has been reduced from 4 lanes, 2 lanes in each direction, to a single lane in each direction with a center turn lane. Left turn lane turning northbound onto Newcastle Street, westbound, southbound onto Newcastle Street. There are no turn lanes at Richmond Street. There are turn lanes at Reynolds Street. Then moving on down the block, we'll be moving to
Okay,
the.
Back up, Garo.
Yeah, back up. There is a traffic signal at Newcastle, correct?
There
Yes.
is, that's right.
Now, does that, as you move to the intersection of Richmond, that lined area that's in the center, is that a raised area or is it just a marked area?
Just marked. There are no raised medians or islands as part of this plan. Everything you see is striping there, pavement markings.
Okay.
So Garo, at Newcastle, I don't see the allowance for right turns.
Yeah.
Is that just coming out the regular lane?
The right turn and the through lane would be the same lane. That's right.
And what I don't see is the continuation of the bicycle path.
The bicycle
see
path
a
does
bicycle
not continue on this end of the project. Their bicycle path ends at MLK. Bicycle path is between 17 and MLK.
Okay, what I also
You've got it. That's not true because you've got it on the panel that's Reynolds Street to Norwich Street and Norwich to
Is that okay?
Albany. So
Okay.
it's still on there.
My mistake.
So are there different plans that you have, Julie, versus what he got up?
No. But I don't see any marks on there to accommodate cars and, well, it's a shared lane with cars and bikes.
Right.
It just
There,
dropped. It
there is
dropped off.
there's no dedicated bike lane on this sheet that we're looking at right here between Oglethorpe.
Right. I understand that, but I'm also questioning why the opportunity to ride a bike along Gloucester comes and goes. It's not continuous. Is it because angled parking is not conducive to having a shared bike lane? Is that part of the reason?
I would think that may be a concern because you have cars backing out.
Right,
See,
Why wouldn't you put the lane in front of it though?
What do you mean in front of
that's
it?
on the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
sidewalk.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, I guess.
But you
it-
don't
it-
have
it-
bikes on the sidewalk normally.
Well, yeah, no, I was looking at something else. I was saying, put a lane right in front of the parking spaces, but then I guess the cars would have to know where to stop at.
Yeah, and
Right.
that's in kind of a drain area, you know,
Right. And I think you want them pulling all the way up to the curb. to
right?
Act as the stop.
Yeah, and I thought we were trying to design this to be bike friendly.
Well, and that's part of I guess the complete road, ordinance has consideration always for bikes and parking. But I don't know why well, I guess because of the parking is what changed it. Garo,
I
can
think
you go
angle
to the
parking
next?
probably has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, can you go to the next?
So the last place that I see a bicycle symbol is as you're coming west at Union Street. After Union Street going west, there's no more consideration given to a bike.
Yeah, and you can see that's where the angled parking starts. So
Right.
I guess that transition is what the difference is you have the bike path as that area spacing for the lane versus the parking.
So to me, rather than just leave our cyclists in the lurch, like what happened to our bike lane, we would need to show the continuation of the bike path down Union Street in either direction.
Well, I think note too that this is not a dedicated bicycle lane. This is a shared lane between Egmont and Union there, certainly. That's a shared lane with the vehicle travel lane.
Is that safe?
That's not that's common to do that, but
not the
that's not a
best way.
dedicated bicycle lane.
Why not share the sidewalks?
No, that's not gonna be good.
Yeah,
Maybe-
normally you don't
Pedestrians.
put you have pedestrians on the sidewalk. Normally you don't put the bikes
Go
on the
to
sidewalk.
St. Simon's Island and check St. Simon's Island out, what they've done. They seem to be on their game over there. It works for them.
Yeah, and it works on Jekyll too, I
Yeah.
presume. Usually
It'll
though, you
work in
just don't
Brunswick
see it.
too. It'll work in Brunswick.
Well, I think the long and short of it is we need to determine how we're gonna handle cyclers. Because if it doesn't seem safe to carry them on up Gloucester Street west, well, or really in either direction, then we need to end it at MLK and let them know that, there's a trail specifically
For
on
biking?
MLK that could then get them into the south end, but just not down Gloucester.
I agree with you on that one. I don't see how safe it is to have them
No.
traveling up Gloucester Street on a bike.
Ms. Regina, and I was probably a little late coming on, but has anyone talked back to DOT and to find out exactly what they're planning to do? Are they going to give us an opportunity to make some changes? Or are they going to go ahead or go forth with the plans that they already have?
Well, I did speak to them, but they were not committed in terms of, changing the project at this point. I mean, she didn't say they wouldn't, but it definitely would put a wrench in what their plans were in order to stop it at this late juncture. But she didn't say they wouldn't, stop it. I think it would just be a major sort of calamity to do so. But they did send me these plans and ask for comment, because I think she did express to the district engineer that the commission was dissatisfied with the design and had not been properly communicated to. So they kind of left it a little bit open, but again, they did not say that they would necessarily stop the project. I think they didn't want to say that, but because it would be just a major undertaking, because they have let the project to the contractor.
Well, this thing has
I had a
has
similar-
been pushed by a couple of city commission members, and it obviously has some opposition to it. I mean, so what could the Georgia Department of Transportation do? What could they do? We have got to become unified here and look and see and say, hey, we need to hold this thing off. I'm not saying all of it's bad, okay? But we don't need to commence with any of this stuff, in my humble estimation. We need to stop it right here. The community needs to weigh in. I'm telling you, I've got something that's pretty necessary to get out in front of people from the superintendent of schools. They're concerned. They put a lot of traffic on that road.
Well,
That should have been done a long time ago. It didn't get done. Okay.
I agree with you, but the fact of the matter is, they have already got these plans and a contractor ready to start, or supposedly ready to start any day now. And my concern is, are we too late to the party? Because at this point, if we don't
Not if we become unified, no. If we keep pushing for what we're doing here, yeah, you are. You're too late. We should have stopped it already.
Can I finish my point?
Absolutely, please do.
I think at this point, if we don't get public involved and get some vocalization behind this, that the citizens don't need this to happen at this point in time, they're going to start this project and they're going to complete it as they have it set up now.
Well, I don't know if it would be necessarily the best thing to put it out to the public for them to oppose it. I guess if we uniformly, as Mr. Kaysen said, does every commission, at this point want this project to stop? And if that's what we're communicating or need to communicate to DOT, then we need to get that first directly to them to say, the City Board of Commissioners would really like for this project to be halted at this point and for consideration to be given to these things. But I think we need to identify what these things are in order for them to say, okay, maybe we can look at that.
I had a similar conversation this morning with GDOT and somebody else out of Ms. Phillips's office, but the impression I got was if we were opposed enough to the road diet, that they would back off the road diet and continue with the resurfacing project and stripe it back as it exists today. But sounds like they're planning to go forward with a project within the next week or two. It's either road diet or existing conditions. So.
Well, I am going to I'm gonna be like Commissioner Kaysen, my left hand counterpart when we're in our actual meetings. That I am disappointed that we even have to be here at this point, not having been fully educated on this project. I want that to be of record. I am
Senseless.
firmly disappointed. But then looking at this information and just trying to come up with something that would be feasible and meanable or workable for everybody involved. and still be able to accomplish something, looking at bike paths. Because I remember us going through a big, I can't remember what it was and when it was, but when we did all of that information on trying to make downtown biker friendly, make that area biker friendly, and the incorporation of safe streets and all of that stuff, we
Complete
do,
streets, yeah.
and we go through all these studies and all this kind of stuff, and then we come back to the table with this kind of stuff. I mean, if we're gonna say we're gonna do this thing, we're gonna have safe streets, we're gonna have bikeable, safe streets, trails, and all that stuff is supposed to be tying in. How are we doing the master on tying all of this stuff in to the entirety? And I'm baffled that we even have to be here. But looking at this and trying to come up with some sensibility to even fit into what they have already done is to say, can you do something on one side of the street with bike trail, and then use one side of the street as a bike trail, and take that on and cause that to continue on out. I mean, just some kind of stuff to kind of make this stuff a little more amenable. Because I heard from someone in our safety area with the firefighters and stuff. And this plan doesn't even consider them responding to emergencies.
And the police department.
And the police department. And so
sides.
how can we be at this point when we've not even consulted them?
They have been involved, Felicia, but they recommended not doing this. And
Okay. See, we didn't
I
even
understand that fully. I really do.
we didn't even, and so does everybody know that?
No.
No. And so that, I mean, that's the frustrating part from my seat, is that now I'm hearing from those persons that have to do this job, and they're saying, no, this isn't the best thing. I mean, you're talking about increasing response times and all of this kind of stuff because of congestion. So, I mean, I don't understand it.
I haven't spoken to the fire chief, but I spoke to the police chief briefly, and he said it was so long ago that he was consulted about this that he couldn't remember what, his, I guess, input had been. But one thing I know, when you talk about bike paths, you can't do them on one side and not have them on the other.
Okay.
So
I did
that's not
talk to both the fire chief and the police chief, and they both do not know how they're going to negotiate this. And they were told, one of them anyway, the other one was not sure. But I've got a synopsis of what the superintendent of schools sent to me. I'll send you the whole thing after the meeting, but
That's fine. That's fine.
he
Commissioner
sent
Casey.
this to everybody.
Yes.
If you would you like to read it, or would you like me to read it?
Well, if it's yeah, go ahead and read it. As long as it's short,
This
okay?
is from.
And he has his opinion like everybody else.
Well, I've been told now, hold on, I'm getting some more information. Let me get some clarification.
Okay, all right. Well,
Okay?
while you
But
do
I do
that,
have a synopsis.
while you do that, Commissioner Casey, to our city manager, I would like for you to get with DOT and find out how much of a delay can we get with this project. It seems that we're not ready for this project yet. So if we can get a 30-day, 45-day delay, that means that we can go through our process and get our process exactly right, so we can have something that would be great for them to actually consider. We're not looking.
Okay.
We're not looking at maybe not throwing the whole thing out with the baby. We want to. We may be able to look at it and we can alter certain features of it. But I think if we get them to start now, and if they said, what they want to do is resurface it, and we worried about the restriping. That's the issue that's really, I think, is really bothering us right now, the restriping of Gloucester Street. Because
one of the things I did speak to them about, and Gerald, if you can go up to MLK, I guess the next panel, let's see. Okay, so
The west side of MLK.
yeah, this is the west side of MLK. what I did ask them about, just as a preliminary thought, was if we were to allow for the four lanes to come to MLK and then have a right turn, you know, off of that westbound and off of the eastbound to bring it down to one lane as you proceed west on Gloucester. And that would allow for the four lanes to be there at the Lanier intersection. And then it would allow for the 2 lanes or 3 lanes to be west of west of MLK.
So what do you do about the fire squads and stuff coming out?
They would come, you mean the fire
Engines, the fire engines and stuff.
They
Coming
right
out,
at, they,
answering a call. What would you do about
well,
that?
they would have that center lane. And of course, it's always dangerous, yes, for them to be coming up that lane, but people would have, you know, the center lane for them to get over in terms of getting to a fire. I mean, they go down 2-lane streets all the time. I mean, that to me is something that's negotiable and certainly something that they have, you know, I mean, they can manage.
Okay, now, because you're not talking about having parallel parking right there by where the fire station is, are you? You're not talking about having parallel parking there, are we?
Where's that intersection, Garo?
It's right there.
That's at Albany.
Right here.
So no,
So no,
there would be
there's no
parallel parking in
Okay.
front of the fire station. There's 3 spaces there in front of that meat market or whatever it is, and then it's open in front of the fire station.
Let's see, yeah.
Actually, is there parking there now?
Yes.
No,
They do have
There's no-
street parking now.
the store, but there's no,
On my sheet, it shows some parallel parking there, and those bump outs, to me, get rid of the bump outs and, you know, have a dedicated bike lane, for crying out loud. I just, there's parts of this that make just no sense. And to me, it just seems like this was going to happen in the dark of night, and we would wake up one morning and the whole project would be done, and we, you know, didn't have any say-so in it whatsoever.
Well, see, and then to me, this is, I mean, we can't, it's frustrating, that's all. We're getting this, and now we're giving input on it, but we have to remember, this isn't solely DOT. We had people from our side in meetings on this stuff, for which we had no idea.
yeah, I got a call from some members of BATS that said they never saw it come up in their meetings.
We did not. Never
I was
saw
like,
it. I saw it when y'all saw it.
You all have this thing from Dr. Spence now, I believe. I think everybody's got it.
Okay, I was about to say, Johnny, because I was going through my emails and I didn't see anything from Spence.
Yeah, he sent it to everybody, not just to me.
What email did he send it to everybody? Because I hadn't seen it in mine.
no,
But I would like to concur with what the mayor said. We need to stop this thing and get a moratorium on it and figure out what we need to do here. This thing cannot move forward.
Mr. Mayor, would you like to have a motion to that effect?
well, not right now, sir. Let's continue our discussion. We can do a motion a little bit later on. I think let's let city manager and the city engineer finish their presentation all the way through to the end of 17.
Johnny, send that. I'm trying to see where.
I don't have it either, so he may.
I don't have it either.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't get it.
Okay,
I mean, if you all want me to read this letter, it's only 2 paragraphs.
Well, go ahead, Regina.
Go ahead.
It says, to whom it may concern, choosing to make Gloucester a 2-lane roadway would have an extreme negative impact on traffic flow at Glen Academy and Glen Middle School. At this point, Glen Academy has nearly 600 student drivers, 350 parents who drive their children to school, 20 bus routes, and 135 staff members who drive to school. Glen Middle has approximately 550 parents who drive their children to school, 9 buses, and 75 staff members who drive to school. When you take into account that these commutes take place 2 times each day for 180 days per year, it is easy to see how choosing to change Gloucester would negatively impact the school system. We also have approximately 30 employees in our central office, and each of these employees work the entire calendar year. In addition, there are several buses that come from St. Simon's Elementary, Oglethorpe Elementary, and a few other elementary schools that use buses to transport students to and from home. At each location, nearly every one of these vehicles will cross over or use Gloucester as a main roadway during the commute. Thank you for your considering our school system and making your decision. As a matter of fact, okay, and that's it. It's signed for Scott Spence, superintendent.
Okay, now Regina, didn't the DOT say they were going to do a traffic count beginning yesterday?
Yes, they were supposed to do a traffic count, and they were going to do it at the peak hours, they stated.
Okay.
They were out counting traffic at Lanier Boulevard intersection this morning at 8 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're basically, we've gone from Bay Street over to Norwich. And where we see the parking is at Union Street, the parallel parking ends and the bike routes begin. And we go east on Gloucester to show the bike routes, and there's some parallel parking on the street. Now, is that, make sure I'm saying that right, Gerald, those little dots indicate parallel parking, correct?
Yes, ma'am. They're just the little T that delineates the parallel parking spot. That's right. So
Okay.
there's 2 spots there, 3 spots or 4 spots in that one, 6 spots there. So that's
Okay,
right.
so those spots, I think we already have parallel parking in most of those places now, correct?
That's right. That's
Okay.
right.
So
That's
the
right.
lanes, the 4 lanes would be changed in these areas to put in that center lane, and it'll probably be a little bit widened to have the bike lanes along with the parallel parking.
That's right. So
Okay.
you're basically fitting 3 lanes in what is now 4.
Right. Okay. So you can go
Then-
to the next one.
Continuing to the east past Norwich, you basically have the same arrangement all the way to Albany Street. We mentioned the fire station there on the north side. There's no parking there in front of the fire station, but basically the same arrangement all the way to Albany.
But why
Either side of the street.
why do we need parallel parking in front of Safe Harbor? Like, I had to go physically write down what's located where. I mean, you don't need to parallel park in front of Safe Harbor or the Well or Grace House. Now the old chicken market down there at Albany Street, the fried chicken place, there's already 3 spaces there, and we were kind of used to those, but I don't see a reason to, add
I'm sure they were
pump outs
just trying to
parallel
provide
park.
as much parking for the downtown area as possible there. And so that it would accommodate a spot, so they put it in there. I'm assuming that's their logic.
Well, I think we can all agree that some of the most nerve-wracking stretch of Gloucester is right in front of the post office. Because those folks are in and out of their cars, they take, people open up their car doors. They're
I
trying
think
to.
that's where it's changed to parallel parking, if I'm not mistaken. Is
You
it?
think what
No,
now?
that's-
No, wait, it's still
parallel parking in
parallel.
front of the post
They're
office.
not
sorry.
allowing, it looks to me like they do not allow parallel parking but in front of the post office there. See, that delineation is different there.
We thought that was going to happen when the post office remodeled and we
Right.
closed the street for them, and then they changed their design.
So
But the
that may
post
be a
office-
federal requirement to eliminate that parking. I don't know.
The
They
post
told us
office,
that was a
But
requirement.
the
when
post
they
office,
the
remodeled.
post
between
office is
Ellis and
between
Egmont?
Egmont and Ellis.
Yeah,
No,
it's
you're wrong.
between Egmont
Okay.
and Ellis.
And there's still
Okay.
parallel parking there.
Oh,
Okay,
Yeah.
you're right then. My fault.
Yeah, you were at the parking lot.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it is dangerous and we need to do something to correct it, no question.
Okay. But then continuing to the east, we basically have the same 3-lane arrangement all the way to MLK. Moving east then from MLK, we continue a 3-lane arrangement. The parking is eliminated on each side. You have a travel lane in each direction with a center turn lane, a bike lane on each side outside of the travel lane. So, but no parking, on-street parking east of MLK.
Okay, so you have a dedicated bike lane here.
Right
Yeah.
here is a dedicated bike lane outside the travel lane. That's right. Continuing east, that same alignment continues past Magnolia, past Johnson, all the way down till the bike lane plays out there at Goodyear on the north side and the western leg of Lanier on the south side. And then at that point, then you get into the intersection there at Highway 17, and basically the lane, eastbound lane, right lane would continue to be free flowing onto southbound 17, and then turning vehicles would merge over into the left turn lane to get onto 17 to go north there.
But this doesn't take into account the
This does not take into account the additional turn lane or the Lanier Gloucester improvements that came out of the BAT study. That's right. This is strictly GDOT proposal here.
okay,
Now,
which
this then is the GDOT or the BAT's proposal, or the study, which was completed by Pond and Associates through the BAT's funding. This you can see as you come to Lanier, that's basically the same arrangement that we just saw in the GDOT, where the bike lane kind of dies out at Goodyear on the north, the western leg of Lanier on the south. Here you've got then this is a raised concrete median in the intersection. This proposal completely closes the western leg of Lanier, and we can talk about some different options there in a second. But then you would have a pedestrian crossing across that raised median there, about where the western leg of Lanier is currently. You would have a single lane in each direction passing that raised median. Eastbound, that single lane would continue into one of the left turn lanes. You would add another left turn lane for vehicles to merge over to. So you'd have double left turn lanes onto northbound 17. And then you would have the right turn lane would break off onto southbound 17 from that.
Garo, hear me?
Yes, sir.
Now, and I'm looking at this, and I'm going to what something Commissioner Harris spoke about, our fire departments and traffic and getting down that road. If there's an accident right there at 17 at that traffic light, and our fire department has to come through there during school hours, for instance, how in the world are they going to get down through there with all that traffic if it's just one lane?
I mean, I think people get vehicles move over into the bike lane or into the turn lane and leave a passable lane for them to get through there. You know, St. Simon's was mentioned a couple of minutes ago, and then they run fire trucks and ambulances up and down 2 lanes of Frederica every day without much trouble. So, you know, I think that can be accommodated in this alignment.
You got a congested traffic area where you got a lot of cars come from schools that's sometimes backed up to MLK with 4 lanes. That's going to be chaotic.
And part of that is because so many vehicles are turning onto Highway 17 northbound in a single left turn lane. And so that does back them up. I think this additional left turn lane will allow a double amount of vehicles to stack in the turn lane, which would shorten up that queue and the length of that traffic stacking all the way back. Instead of traffic stacking all the way back here, you're going to have traffic stacked up here in these turn lanes. Is sort of the thinking behind this.
Garrow,
Yes, ma'am.
I have two problems, and it primarily relates to the left-hand turn off of Lanier Boulevard. If you look where they're saying make a left-hand turn, those left-hand turn folks have to wait for all the people coming off of Gloucester to turn left, and their field of vision is still really bad, trying to take into consideration cars that are heading straight due west. So why can't you do a left turn only lane on that where the Lanier does a V? Okay, take the western side that you've blocked off, go as far to the left of that as possible, and let that be a left-hand turn, because they only have 1 lane of traffic either way that they have to look out for, because they've got the big, they've got the pedestrian crosswalk, which automatically the traffic should be going a little bit slower, and make a left-hand turn there instead of where it is now, because that doesn't solve the problem to me. If you're trying to make a left-hand turn, it's still, you're going to get T-boned just like they do now.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, and yeah, it looks like it gives a little bit more relief for that Lanier intersection, because it does, right now, you only have 1 lane coming out of Lanier going either east or west, and it stacks up. This gives you 2 lanes. However, that left turn is a hard negotiation because, like you said, visibility past the, I guess, the corner there, and then you got to go all the way across. Whereas if you were to go down that kind of offshoot past the pedestrian, you could at least pull into that center lane in order to get out into the the westbound lane.
Yeah, you've
So
got,
that
you've
may
got a much better opportunity to make it safely. Yeah. And then the
That's
other
one-
question I had is, as you get closer to Highway 17 intersection, it's probably on the next slide, where you've got the cars that are coming south off of 17 and want to turn right there. And then you've got the other cars that are turning onto, they have to merge right there where your hand is, the cursor.
Right. That's
And
right.
then who yields? There's no, you got 2.
Southbound 17 right there would yield.
And they're going to have signs and stuff up there?
Oh Lordy,
certainly.
they're going to be going fast. So they're
There
going to
will
have
be
to
signs.
yield to the cars coming in from crossing over 17 South.
True, those vehicles would yield. They're very few, I say very few, there's usually no more than 5 or 6 vehicles, it seems, coming northbound 17 making that turn. So,
Okay,
you know, there's especially in the mornings, there's a ton more vehicles coming this way. So they would only yield for a second, but that's a typical arrangement for the vehicle to be the yielding vehicle there.
okay.
You'll
It
see
just
that at
needs
most
to
every
be
intersection.
well marked as
That's
such.
that's what I'm saying too, Commissioner. Because
Really,
it's nothing up there now to tell them they need to yield.
no, and they're
We
going
don't
They
yield
should-
now.
Don't
they
have
should
to
open
now.
up.
Lane right now.
Yeah, they have an open lane now, so they don't have to yield now. It would
Yeah,
be a
so that's
change in the traffic pattern.
yeah, that's a change of your behavior that you've
Yeah.
got to make sure way
Yes.
out there that you're letting them know they've got to slow down and yield.
Mm-hmm. Cause they collide there now. Nobody want to yield.
Mhm.
But yes, what I was about to say on that Lanier area. Go ahead with the
You want to go
information.
back a slide, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, I just that what you were saying is what I had already been saying when we first saw this in the finance committee meeting about that near Gloucester area. And so Gary, you said they were out there this morning. Did they go back out there at the afternoon peak time?
I don't know. I didn't go by and check. I did see them out there counting this morning, and then later when I had a conversation with them, or somebody in that office, they did say that they were going to try to count at peak times. So I'm assuming they went back, but I didn't go to check.
Okay.
Just, I guess one thing to show here, this is the area you just mentioned where the southbound 17 would yield to westbound Gloucester. Traffic would be traveling in that single lane. You would then have a dedicated left turn lane onto southbound Lanier. And that's one cause of the conflicts right now is that you don't have that dedicated left turn lane. So you do have some rear end accidents, but another cause of accidents is vehicles making that left turn onto southbound Lanier. You've got the two lanes here. So a lot of times the left lane will stop. Somebody will try to get across and be hit by that free flowing right lane that they can't see there. So you've got that sort of that blind lane that you're crossing. I
But
do
now
think
you-
that's a benefit of this alignment is obviously you eliminate that blind crossing right there.
Right, you eliminate it there, but you
Still put it in the
still
turning
added
lane.
it for those trying to turn left. They've got, coming out of Lanier, turning left, they've still got two lanes of traffic, one which is
Mhm.
free flowing, just about left-hand turn. It's a dedicated turn lane. Then they've got the free flow lane of traffic that they're gonna have to be watchful for, but you can't see through cars.
Yeah, it's still pretty much the same situation.
It is. I don't think
You're
that's,
right. There are many more vehicles. Not that I'm not saying this is any better. There's many more vehicles turning southbound than there will be turning left off of
Left,
Lanier.
right.
But, you know,
that's why I think if you can,
statistic, your chances go down.
if at the fork to the left on Lanier, going north, if you can just open that up enough to make a left-hand turn only and get them on the other side of the crosswalk where traffic's calmer and they can.
So well, the only problem I think with that is that right down there where the split is, you would have to cross traffic to get them over to that left side. I mean, to the left side.
Yeah,
Right here, you would have a
Right, they would be crossing,
yield to
yeah.
cross right there.
And that may not be problematic, but I mean, and
Well,
now, I mean, it's there now, so,
yeah.
because people can go in and out now.
Right.
I still say a red light needs to be put there to slow these people down and make them have to stop. so that all of these exchanging of directions and turns and traffic and all this stuff can be controlled. Right now, this doesn't show me control right now.
Well, and I don't disagree with you on that, certainly, but you know, DOT has been steadfast on what warrants a traffic signal, and if it doesn't meet their warrants, then they don't budge.
I heard
This,
them
this
say
traffic
that.
study, this pond study also examined 3 traffic signal warrants, and none of those justified a traffic signal at that
Wow.
intersection either. So, yeah, I doubt we'll be able to get one there.
Yeah, that's,
3-way stop sign there?
well, the thing is, a 3-way stop there, because of the volume of traffic, I would see that it would cause more congestion. Because, you know, people are so bad at navigating
got there
4-way stops, that they would sit there and, you know, it would just be, I think it would cause more congestion, especially during the peak hours.
Regina, to your point, about the concern of turning left to the split on Lanier, if you're going to make a left-hand turn, we have a gracious amount of right-of-way that if we needed to widen it a little bit to give those left-hand turners to queue over, to come up to the left-hand turn onto Gloucester, it looks like we've got room to be able to do that.
Assuming I think these bluish lines are supposed to delineate property lines. Assuming those are accurate, you're right. It looks like there's enough room to create a left turn lane there for folks to enter that lane. So it may be an option.
Well, there are, you know, a number of options, but I guess, as Garrow stated earlier, in his conversations with DOT, they would rather do the resurfacing as is or go forth with what they have. And again, I know that's not necessarily meeting you all's objectives at this point, but do we have any solid recommendations that we can take forth to them? The thing is, anything that you change will change, you know, more than what we think, because they would have to reevaluate what the impact of that change will be.
That's right. I got the impression we could get some very minor changes in, but they're at the point in their contract where any wholesale changes, they would just go back to the alignment that's out there now.
Well, what was the whole disconnect that we never got to provide? We never got to see these any sooner than we did. We all saw them at the same time, and nobody from DOT reached out to let us know what they were doing. I mean,
well, I'll talk about my part of this. When I became knowledgeable of the DOT resurfacing was when we started asking about our portion of this project, which is the Lanier Gloucester, that, you know, came out of the study from the BATS, you know, ponds study. And I was under the impression, because the DOT project was already, as far as I was told, was already bid out, already, you know, being contracted. I was under the impression that it had been already vetted through the city. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I never, you know, and it was a DOT maintenance project. So
who brought it to your attention, Regina, that it had not been?
I beg your pardon?
Who brought it to your attention that it had not been?
Well, you were the first person to say it, Mr. Kaysen, but it was reaffirmed during the finance meeting, and Garrow and I both were surprised when Commissioner Williams and Commissioner Harris said, we've never seen this.
I
So
didn't
it kind of
surprise you at
confirmed.
all. I understand that.
And that was basically kind of a confirmation that, okay, this is something that the commission has not necessarily, you know, been engaged with. And it was at that time that we realized, myself and I think Gerald too, that the whole commission had not been apprised of what DOT's part of the project was.
And let me ask, and thank you, Regina, I appreciate that information. Let me ask this question. If we were to tell GDOT to resurface and stripe just like it is today, when would be the next opportunity we could change any of the roadway striping? Because I know paint and all that only lasts so long, but Garo, what's our next opportunity to change any of the striping on there?
I would say it's, anytime soon, they're going to use thermoplastic striping on this, which is going to have to be ground up to be able to be removed. And then it's not going to look good out there. With this amount of striping, you're almost going to have to resurface to be able to change the alignment again. So.
How often, when was the last time?
That's what
Gloucester
I was about to say. When was the last time they did it? Yeah.
I'm sure they're planning on a 25 to 30-year life on this asphalt.
That's what I thought. Okay.
About 2 decades.
Right. So,
But that's not to say that if we had money to do it, they wouldn't, I mean, they probably would let us
That's right.
spend our money on it.
we may be able to go to them in 5 years or whatever. If we come up with a plan, we go to them and say, hey, do you mind if we mill this up and realign this thing? And, they may not be opposed to that, but that would be on our dime.
Yep.
See, and that's the flip side of it. We want to leverage somebody else's dime.
That sure like
Right.
that.
Okay, so we're back at, I guess my next question is, if we came up with, I don't know, some modifications of the existing plans, is it going to make a difference?
Well,
That-
Let me,
I would say what level of modifications, because like I said, any change that we made after they've gone through their engineering design evaluation, any change that's made is going to, they're going to have to redo certain things that it may impact. So, it kind of lends itself to what level of change, that we would propose.
let me ask this question. Has anyone said to DOT or anyone thought of the fact that this is the only 2-lane highway in and out of downtown Brunswick for is going east and west or going east? There's not another 2-lane or 4-lane road anywhere in the city of Brunswick.
Well, Commissioner Kasem brought that up at the last meeting. Yes.
I brought it up before that, but it's okay.
But listen, so we're at this point now. We evidently we can hear that there is not a connect on what's being proposed by DOT. So we're having this meeting because there is a disconnect with this design. So now, what are our offerings so that we can move forward with this?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. You are exactly right. So we need to decide how we're going to go back to DOT and what we're going to do. I think we've been discussing whether we are going to tell them to not complete the project, to complete half of the project, to do whatever. We need to be kind of specific in what we actually want, or actually tell them in a generic term to how we want this project to proceed or to cease. And also knowing the fact that if we ask for it to be ceased, when will we get back into the loop again for it come up again? We got to realize all those things. I also think that we can get this project delayed for at least 30 to 45 days before, so we can decide. And once then, during that period of time, we have to accept whatever we decide to go with. Either gonna be still 4-lane or halfway 4-lane or 2 lanes completely or what. But we're gonna do something with the Lanier Boulevard, Glen Avenue area. We're gonna do something with that. I think we need to do something with that.
Well, that was sort of the question at the end of my conversation with them this morning. Question number one was, do we want them to continue with the road diet or put it back like it is? And then question number two, regardless of what they do, are we going forward with the proposed intersection improvements at Lanier and Highway 17? So it's sort of the two-part question that I was asked this morning.
I'm definitely for stopping the road diet immediately.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
I'm with Johnny on that. I think we should stop this thing and make sure that we look at this thing and get it right when we get it done.
Okay, so, but the thing is that's kind of two different things. Mr. Kaysen is saying, stop it completely and stay with the 4 lanes. You're saying, stop it until we can get something else done. So make some clarity for.
No, I'm saying go back with the 4 lanes, because if they're gonna pave it in the next 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months, let's go back the way it is.
Okay, so you're saying keep the 4 lanes.
Yeah, I'm saying to delay it.
If we find an opportunity to delay it, like the mayor suggests, are we interested in any other alignment, maybe not this road diet, but an alignment that may be different from the proposed road diet? Are we?
That would be my thing. That would be my thing. Okay, so we would say option 1. That's what we need to come to. Option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. First option would be Commissioner Kaysen, Commissioner Williams says, stop it completely. Option, I'm not saying these are the how we would prioritize our options. I'm just putting them out there as examples. Option 2 would be, we say, do the road diet up to MLK and then we do something else from MLK over to 17. Option 3 would be, no, we don't want to do the road diet. Let's push the road diet further into the intra area of downtown. So we started at Union Street on over to Bay Street, but we go from Union going east 17, continuing as it appears now. I'm just putting examples out there.
That sounds good.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
those are some good options. I mean, that gives us some clarity.
I think MLK is a great point to make a transition. I would definitely agree with that. My other concern is the angled parking as you get towards City Hall and in areas that we haven't had angled parking on Gloucester before. That's a big change right there, because I know when we go north or south on Newcastle Street off of Gloucester, we're almost in a walking zone. Like, hopefully everybody has really slowed down. They're watchful of pedestrians because there's pedestrian crossovers right there in the commercial retail area. So, but I think to make that kind of a change on Gloucester, you got to, sometimes it's hard to pull out of an angled parking spot. Yeah. You got to make sure cars aren't coming too fast and you see them.
Yeah. And see, and what when I look at that angle, because when you talked about the walking area, you got a mainstream pedestrian travel from MLK right there at the red light, immediately on the other side of east side of MLK. You have, because the stores and the residents that live in that area, not just let alone the school traffic, pedestrian traffic that crosses that area. So that it from right there immediately, east side of MLK, all the way up to all the way up to Newcastle Street. That is mainstream pedestrian walking traffic that comes through that area. And so now when you're talking about the parallel parking, and I could see the parallel parking if we had deep sidewalks. I mean, if you know how the sidewalks are kind of protruded back, and then you can kind of go up into that space and make the parallel parking. Like if they were cut in a little, the sidewalks were cut in or cut back a little bit more, then the parallel parking would be in deeper into the sidewalk area. But now at the way that our sidewalks are designed, they are immediately off of and into the roadway.
Are you talking about angled parking or?
No, I'm talking about I said parallel parking, but I mean the angle parking.
Okay.
You know, like when some cities, their sidewalks they have a deeper area that they don't level out with the street area. They are pushed back a little bit more, and so that would cause the parallel parking to go back more into the sidewalk area because of the way that sidewalks are designed in certain areas. I don't know the terminology to use to call it, but the sidewalks are a little more cut in instead of just coming immediately off into the street.
You're saying maybe there's a grass strip between the sidewalk and the curb line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
it causes it to be pushed back more.
You know,
And
angle parking really presents lots of problems too. Look what we've got on Newcastle Street already. In these big, large vehicles that we're buying, these big 350s and 250s, you have to back out and just hope the heck you don't get hit right now. And you're talking about a go fast lane here where people are trying to exodus or either ingress to the downtown area. And you're going to put this kind of stuff on them. So, you know, it's good to think about, but it's not really very realistic. It really isn't. And what I think we need to do is I think we need to get Garrow and Regina to get with the folks that came up with this plan, tell them we want it stopped, we want it halted, and come back with something that's better than this. Again, I like the 4 lanes. Thank you, Regina, for pointing it out. I'm pretty adamant with that. I really do. I think they did the best thing that we could have for the city of Brunswick many, many, many years ago for us. And I think we need to be smart enough to hold on to it. I really do. You can bicycle, you can pedestrian all over Brunswick, Georgia, and you can do it safely. This is 4 lanes. It's been there a long time, but I'm willing to listen. I've listened to this thing. I'm willing to listen more, but I think we need to get the experts involved and come back to us timely, a lot more timely than where we are now. We need to stop this thing though. That's the main thing.
Let me ask a question. On the downtown area, where is the school traffic the worst coming from the middle school?
Lanier Boulevard.
Or is that, no, I mean,
Here.
not the middle school,
So the
but
high school,
the high school.
the high school is coming off of Norwich.
All
Okay,
Norwich, Albany, and Union.
Yeah.
It's
Norwich
pretty
and
heavy from
Albany.
Norwich to all the way to
Okay.
17.
All the way to 17.
In Norwich, you have a lot of pedestrian school traffic also. Lots of
at
kids.
MLK too.
Yeah, lots of kids use it. I had them run out in front of me on Gloucester Street yesterday. 4 kids ran right straight out in front of us while we were going downtown yesterday. I mean, they never looked. They never stopped at the sidewalk. They ran out in like a chain right in front of not just us, but all lanes of traffic there. So
Well,
this is,
Johnny, if we make it 2 lane or whatever, it would slow that traffic down. That's one of the things.
oh, I understand that, Cornell, but it's like I said yesterday, what we've got is we've got an enforcement problem, and we need to address our enforcement problem. We enforce the enforcement problem, we'll save a lot of money, we'll save a lot of lives, we'll save a lot of insurance bills. It's enforcement.
Okay, one of the reasons why we asked for them to resurface Gloucester and also for the restriping is because we wanted more parking and we wanted more we want a bike path. So I think we got what we kind of asked for, but now that we got what we asked for, we're not satisfied with what we got.
Well, we weren't all asked. We weren't all involved.
Well, that's true. That's true. We did not run it by the public, and that's why I say we need to delay it so we can actually
By the city
have some input from our stakeholders, our public. Really, we need to have a couple of town hall meetings and let the people see exactly what what's being proposed, so they can give us a cut at it as well.
Yeah. Well,
So Mayor, you're asking to delay. Now that would delay the project in terms of what we're asking. You're asking, and I'm saying this so that I can have clarity when I talk to DOT. You're asking for a delay of the project for 30 to 45 days for us to come up with what we want. And
Yes.
then after then, they will have to go through their evaluation process to redesign based on what we can agree to.
Okay.
Is that what you're?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am, because if we don't do that, if we don't do it that way, that means we just accept what's presented to us or either just stop it. So we right at a junction here to decide either go or no go almost.
Okay, well, I guess, yeah, I just need direct, what I'm going to them with,
Well, we got
and what those
options.
options are.
Yeah,
So-
according to Mayor Pro Tem, she laid out the options pretty well. So
I know, but when I go to them, that's what I'm trying to find out now. If I go to them and say, look, this is what the commission is asking, can you do this? And they say, well, we'll need to look at it and check it out. If it's the halfway road diet or the road diet up to this point, well, at that point, they're going to think, okay, we're going to look at this and come back and tell you what we can do, versus what you just said about delaying it until
Okay.
we allow
Okay.
the public to look at it.
you're right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Yes, I
Okay.
do. Okay. And you don't have to go to them by yourself either.
No, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I just want to be
No,
clear.
I don't think we should just send you off like that. I think we, the city commission as well as you should go. And it would be myself, either Mayor Pro Tem or whoever, and yourself and Garrow as well. We need to have that conversation. I don't think we should send you directly there.
Well, I think, but, we need to, I guess, have clarity on what we want to ask them.
Exactly. I agree.
I hear you. Because you're saying that to say these are we want to explore these options, and they still have a consideration of they're still moving forward, whatever they're trying to do, but to include whatever option we say we want is our main option, versus we're saying just stop the entire project, period. Or just stop the entire project for 45 days to allow us to offer options.
Right. That's
And-
the two
and be-
different.
And be specific in the options that we're offering. And I just threw those out there now. I'm not saying those are what we need to go with. I was just using examples of it because I do think that we can digest some of this stuff up to a certain point. Even considering what Commissioner Kaysen and Commissioner Williams were saying about what would be if push comes to shove, and they'll say we'll accept something up to a certain point. What would be that certain point that we could amenably live with, and allow if it's the road digest up to whatever certain point. Because I mean, I look in my mind and I have one thing in my mind. Commissioner Casey may have something else in his mind, but what would be a certain point that we could get up to that the road diet may be more applicable?
Let me ask this question, and I hear your question, Commissioner Harris, Mayor Pro Tem. Garrow said earlier that they're saying to him that what they would be looking at if we don't go with the plan that they already have laid out, that they would resurface the road and paint it back just like it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're saying, Garo?
Yes, sir. That's right.
With no changes, we just get back what we got.
Give us
That's
an
right.
option. They've given
No,
to us,
with no other improvements anywhere,
right?
except for resurfacing and striping right back the way it is.
They may be able to throw in some of those little bike symbols, but that's about it.
So that's what I'm saying.
You got
if
Fourth
that's-
Avenue already with bike signals all over it.
Well, see, and that's what I'm saying. Even taking that as another option into consideration, what would be some improvements that we would want to see? Like Commissioner Casey, you just gave a really good example right there at that Norwich Street area, that intersection of Norwich Street and Gloucester. The kids are running across there. So could we have heavier striping in that area with the push button, whatever they call those things? Yes, for the kids to be able to walk across the pedestrian area. They can control the changing of the signals and that kind of stuff. So those kind of things. What are some other amenable suggestions besides just saying we just want to stop it? Okay, if it was me on DOT side, I'd be saying, okay, well, what you want to stop it for? What are you offering me better than what I've offered you?
So we don't have those right now.
Nope.
Where they have, because I thought that they said they were putting in some pedestrian safety areas. So
Well, I think all these cross hatchings in all of the intersections would be improvements. Is that correct, Garo?
They would, yes, I mean, the way it's designed here, I think it would.
What's the extent of the improvements? Or what are the specifics of the improvements? Are the improvements just they're gonna make put some stripes there that you can see a little bit better, or are they putting some other items there? What's the specifics on the improvements?
It's probably comparable to if the last time they paved and striped was, let's just say 15 or 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's
okay.
the current protocol for striping where a crosswalk. It looks different. It's just the more up-to-date modern version of
Striping.
Daryl, they have a mile log that they give, and it talks about the handicap ramps. I'm not sure if it talks about any other improvements. I'm looking right now. And it says, do not stripe crosswalks. Do you see that chart?
I haven't seen that chart. I know where you're talking about, and basically there are several brick or decorative paver crosswalks kind of maybe from Union Street going west between Union and Bay. And typically there's standards, like she said, for painting a crosswalk there. And so they would not paint those since they are decorative brick or decorative pavers. They would refrain from painting those.
Okay, let me, if you go, do you have page, I guess is 13, where it shows some of the crosswalks?
I've only got 8 pages in this document here.
Okay, let me see. I'm trying to see what all I have in mind to see if it has. Okay, let me I guess share my screen. Okay, let's see if I can. Okay, this is, let's see what I got here. See, it shows a little bit more of the striping. Let me see where I am. Lee Street, okay. This goes from the Lanier Boulevard going west, and it shows the installation of crosswalks. And then at the Martin Luther King, it shows I guess these crosswalks.
So,
And shows the installation of crosswalks at Lee Street. And those are parallel to the road. And then it shows that Albany Street, I guess they're, you know, they'll be restriping all of these crosswalks.
And yeah, those are the wider intersections where you see, where you see it going a different, the striping going in a different directions. From corner to corner and then from across the wider stretch. But I was asking, like, even like, what, I don't know what they call those things they put down there on Bay Street. Those,
the rapid flashing beacons.
yes, I'm talking about that kind of stuff.
Well, that's why I was looking at this to see if they had any indication of any installation of anything like that.
I didn't see anything.
I don't remember seeing it.
Okay. Yeah, so most of it is just reinforcing or enhancing the painted crosswalks that they have on the street. Okay.
I think in DOT's lingo, they refer to those as the RRFB.
The flashing beacons,
Yeah.
rapid rectangular flashing beacon.
Mhm.
Okay, so I don't see any of those.
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right.
So I think at this point, we need to decide what is it, when we're saying we want to halt something, what are our intentions in halting this? Are we just halting this and then what's the next plan? I mean, where do we go from halting this? Are we going out to secure additional input? And then when we secure that, what's our turnaround? What's our plan with that? I mean, we don't need to just we don't need to just say we want to stop something and then we don't have no plan.
Well, you got a perfectly good road out there right this very minute. You know, it's not sick. It needs more attention from the people that use it and the enforcement. It's what we need right this minute. I don't see a thing in this world wrong with asking them to please stop this. Be very respectful. Please stop it. And then us regroup and see what we really and truly want and need to do out there.
But Johnny,
So
let me ask you a question.
Yeah, please.
You know, if we allow them to go ahead and resurface it and restripe it the way it is, you know, we know better off than where we were before, are we?
What's the problem with it out there right now?
I'm just saying, you know, they may need some restriping.
You've got sidewalks. You've got sidewalks.
We need it resurfaced. I think they want to resurface the whole.
I'm comfortable with that. I'm very
okay. Well,
comfortable.
that's part of them too. That's part of one of the options that Mayor Pro Tem said.
You've got sidewalks on both sides of the road out there that I do not see very many people using them right now. Most of the people cross the street going to their homes, you know, I mean, and that's what we've got out there. I see very little of what we're here discussing this thing.
But we're here to discuss whether we want to resurface Gloucester Street or not.
Let's definitely resurface it. Let's definitely do it like it is. Like it, I'll make a motion that we resurface Gloucester Street just as it is.
Wait before
Donna,
we get
We're not ready for that.
Yeah,
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for 4 lanes out there and I'm ready for resurfacing. If I could get a second, I'd love to have one.
Well, hopefully, Johnny, I think we're still discussing right now. I don't want you to put your motion out there and then it don't get discussed.
It's on the table, please.
Well, okay. Well, you know, your motion can't come back again.
It's on the table.
Okay, Johnny. Commissioners, okay, we got a motion on the floor from Commissioner Kaysen to actually stop all this whole situation here. And I'm looking for a second.
Have it restriped.
You want to restripe it the way it is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, we know what his motion is, commissioners. Okay, still looking for a second on that motion.
I'll withdraw the motion.
Well, thank you, sir. We'll move right along, continue with our discussion. John, you can also restate your motion later on as we're drawing down now to the end of our discussion anyhow.
I mean, I think it would be vitally important, even if we had it remain a 4-lane, we need to update the crosswalk striping. We need to take advantage of what the current protocol is for, safety at crossings of streets. I don't think we should forego that. I think we need to, make sure that we're not overlooking some safety features that still don't change it being a 4-lane road, if that's what we're looking towards.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. And I'd like to say that I have said that about 45 minutes ago in the way of putting this thing, procrastinating, stopping it, and having Garrow and Regina get with the Georgia Department of Transportation, anybody that has any input on this road, and coming back to us with better than what we've done. And I think we've added a lot of good things here. I really do. But this is what they would do if this had been discussed, to do just exactly this.
Okay,
I mean, we're talking about everything.
My thing is we're headed in that direction, but we do know that there are some potential other improvements that can be made. So how do we capitalize on the other improvements while we have this momentum going? I'm not saying not stop it or whatever, but what else? We do it too much. What else can we be proactive on now that we can still leverage our dollars and get done that needs to be done? We've had various studies done on this stuff. So are we looking at these other studies? Because we've been talking about beautification of that corridor and stuff. And so now are we considering this stuff, y'all? That's all I'm saying. Are we considering this stuff? Or are we just going to stop short and say, let's just get it restriped. Let's look at the current safety measures and all of this type of stuff. But now is an opportunity for us to, if we want to leave it 4 lanes, okay, so be it. But what are some other beautification things that has been on our mind and on our radar for years now that we may be able to leverage where we are right now and still get what we want to see in that area? So let's not just stop short of saying, okay, we just want to keep the 4 lanes and we're just going to get it restriped, and we're going to make sure that the striping comes up with the current safety measures and all of that stuff. What are some other things that we can leverage? Are there areas that a bump out would be comparable for? What are these other things besides don't shorten our vision, while we can proactively leverage whatever we can leverage. Let's do that. Even if we say we still want our 4 lanes there, what else is it that we want there? We've been talking about it. Now we're at the chance of getting it done. What else is it?
Can we
Mayor Pro
agree
Tem.
on the diet not being what we want right now? Can we agree on that?
Read that again, Johnny.
I say, can we all agree, or a majority of us agree, that the diet plan is not what we want right now?
I believe we can.
I see that consensus. I really do. So why don't we do that? Why don't we agree that the diet plan is not what we want as a commission or a community? And again, I say go back and let Regina and Garrow go to these folks, sit down with these ideas. We put a lot on the table today. and come back to us with a date that hopefully we can get this stopped and some ideas for changes that we've discussed here. There's plenty on the table. I hope somebody's been writing it all down.
Chief Jones had his hand up a few moments ago and wanted to interject on the crosswalks, if it's something that may impact what we're talking about right now.
He can go ahead and speak if to go. Let him in, please.
Thank you, Ms. McDuffie. To give you some updated info, the crosswalks, like Commissioner Pacer commented, the problem with the kids is they do cross a lot at Norwich Street and Albany Street, and we already have crosswalks there set up with the red lights where you push the button and wait. The kids don't wait on those. They run across the road anyway.
That's what happened yesterday.
Yes, sir. So a possible solution there is putting one of those like it has on the diagram down at Lanier Boulevard, which we currently have on Parkwood, which is the push button, and it's almost immediate delay. It starts flashing the lights. And I know there would be some consideration with the traffic lights at Norwich and Albany, but something like that is more immediate could be an option, and the kids would wait a few seconds on that to cross the street and make it safer. I rode down there today when school got out. Traffic was backed up on 17 from Tillman down to the intersection at 17. That is vehicle traffic. Used to, most of the kids or the drivers coming from Glen Academy would go through Windsor Park and come out from Lanier and then try to turn right there. But they have found over the last couple of years that it's so congested there. There's so many wrecks and it's hard to get out. Now the kids come from Norwich Street or Albany Street, the drivers, when school lets out. That's the majority of them. So that's something to consider also. The two lanes going eastbound at Gloucester at 17 there is excellent. That's where the most congestion on Gloucester Street is. So that's a good thing. Gary, can I ask you to pull up the last diagram that showed Gloucester Street and Highway 17? Can you put that back up? There's something I want to ask on that, which would be a big consideration.
Was it the colored diagram or
Yes,
the?
ma'am. The colored.
While I'm doing that, there it is. Y'all have mentioned the flashing beacons a couple of times. Those are typically installed at unsignalized crossings. So you're not likely, I don't know that they would at all install one of those at a signalized intersection such as Norwich or MLK or anything like that.
So my question was on 17 northbound, if you're going northbound on 17 and want to turn left or going westbound on the Gloucester Street, does that cut out that left-hand turn right there altogether?
No.
No, sir. You would continue, see there's the arrow. You could either continue westbound onto Gloucester or make the U-turn back southbound onto 17.
Okay, bring your hand over to where that crosswalk is.
That crosswalk?
Right there. Where does the traffic go onto Gloucester there coming off of 17?
They go straight.
That's a median.
No.
Where?
No, it would become a
It'd be
roadway.
about- The green line is widened.
Okay, so that is roadway.
Right, that would be widened to accommodate that third lane right there.
Okay, so something just for consideration is you could look at just doing this change with the two lanes, just like it shows now, to Goodyear Avenue, and then leave the rest of Gloucester Street the way it is, traveling westbound with the 4 lanes, 2 going east, 2 going west. But that is your major place of traffic accidents is at Lanier, between Lanier and Highway 17 in the evening time. And the second highest area on Gloucester Street is around the courthouse area right there between the post office and Norwich Street. But clearly, and the most accidents are between Lanier and Highway 17. So if you're going to improve part of the road, that's the part to improve. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief.
I think we all agree with that wholeheartedly.
Thank you, Chief. I think, it's good to have your input again. And hopefully we get Randy Mobley, his input here shortly too as well, for in the public safety area at that. Also, I know there are a number of individuals online who are part of, I guess, stakeholders in a sense. I know Ralph Staffings, the chamber is on board. I know former president of the chamber, Woody Woodside, you know, he's been here for quite a long period of time in our area. He knows a lot about this. He's been here. He's about as, has as much experience, much knowledge of this area as Johnny Kaysen does as well. So we will listen to what they have to say if he's still on board, if you guys don't mind. Mr. Woodside, are you still with us?
IT would have to give them access as a panelist.
Okay.
And also, Mayor, our Economic Development Director, Travis Stiegel, had a question. He said, could the school board provide crossing guards at Norwich and Albany Street to help?
That's something we have to ask school board, ask them to do that. That's something that they did. I don't know what they have school guards out at all anymore like they used to.
Nah, they don't have that kind of stuff no more in this area. They don't even have that at the elementary schools.
Okay.
We used to put a traffic policeman out at Highway 17, even with the light there, but it's been several years since we've done that.
Yeah,
That's really where your problem is right there at Highway 7, Lanier Boulevard and Highway 17. That's what we need to be addressing.
Well, I think we're going to address that anyhow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, now we've been talking about this for quite a long period of time. Hopefully, our city manager has a lot of notes to formulate a strategy so we can talk to DOT, considering all our options that we have made today. I know this discussion can go on and on and on, but we need to, I guess, wrap it up, and we can either go with what Commissioner Kaysen said, one of his motions, or there's a motion that Commissioner Williams made that he withdrew as well. Or we can just make a motion to continue on with allowing our city manager to approach DOT with our recommended options as well. So it all depends on you commissioners as to what we really want to do. Depends on us, excuse me, what we want to do moving forward from here. We know that we want something to change. We don't want things to remain the same. So if I'm hearing everything, that we have really talked it all the way through, and now we're ready to either put this all together and move forward, and then talk with DOT and then go from that point on. Am I right?
Here's my concern right here. We had a meeting with the folks and we were pretty straightforward. I thought with sort of a consensus that we did not want this thing to be moved forward. And I think that's what we need to do. We need to make sure that they're willing to stop this thing. And, you know, that should that be motion first, that we vote to stop it. And then if we like the option that our engineer gave us on leaving it like it is and restriping it, that would be a part of that motion. And then again, I have suggested that we have our engineer and our city manager work with these folks to work on the changes that we have discussed here today and come back with. But the main thing is that I picked up from Ms. Campbell there that they were ready to start this thing. So we need to get it stopped.
Yes, it's Miss Phillips, and she basically, the contractor has been let on this project, and they, you know, according to her conversations, they were pretty much ready to start with, because I thought it was not going to start for another 30 days or so, but according to what she stated, they were, you know, pretty much ready to start this week or next week when we first talked to them a couple of weeks ago. So, but I think, you know, we certainly can go back to them. Like I said, they did send us the plans and ask for us to bring back comments.
Okay, we will do that. And also, as Ms. Phillips stated, that the contract was let to the contractor some time ago, and the contractor delayed it as well. So
Right,
since they delayed it,
Huh?
you know, that's why we are here again too. So they delayed it once, they can delay it again, I think.
right. I don't think that'll be the biggest issue. I think if we can come to an agreement on, you
Okay,
know, some of the changes, then that would.
Naomi, you saying something?
She's got Randy Mobley.
okay, I'll let him know. Okay. All right. Yes, Mayor, I just spoke with Commissioner Williams. He had to leave,
Okay.
and he said whatever y'all decide, he's in agreement with.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know he had to leave so quickly. Okay, all right. Okay, we've been kicking this around. It's almost 6 o'clock. We're kicking this around for almost 2 hours now. City Manager, I hope that you have taken good notes to, as we try to put this all together. And we may need to talk again to collaborate, to put it all what we've said into one big factual statement, and also with our options. So I presume that that's what's going to happen if we move forward.
Regina, did you ever, excuse me, Mayor, did we ever get a start date? I mean, I know they threatened us with it's ready to go and this, that, and the other. Did we get an official start date?
No,
Can we? I don't know. I don't know if I want to ask them about it at this point. I
no,
think we
well,
should
at this
have-
point, it's a moot point because we're going to tell them whatever it is to not do it. So
Well,
I mean, to me, I don't, you know, they were not specific on the start date. So again, and the guy sent me the plan saying, you know, these are the plans, look at them, send me or give us comments. So in my opinion, that gave us an opening to say, you
we're
know,
on hold.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. So we are where we are again, commissioners. So let's get out of this situation right now. Sorry for our participants who can't be able to voice their opinion, but we would like for them to send their opinion to our city clerk, so we can actually record their comments as well. I think you can do that also with Facebook, that we have Facebook Live, and or through our social media, any kind of ways to get their concerns as well. However, once we put together our collaborated statement back to DOT, then we will wait for what DOT has to say and move from that point on. So, commissioners, we are here now. I think I need a motion so we can continue on, or what is your will and pleasure?
My will and pleasure is to continue on with the conversation, because we need to be definite and specific in where we're going and what we're doing from this point. And we need to have some dates determined as to when we are going to conversate about this again, whatever other things we're trying to achieve, and not just have this lingering.
Okay. So continue with the conversation in what aspect, Mayor Pro Tem?
As to the consideration of our options, which and looking at those options and then coming up with the best feasible option.
Okay. All right. I think we can do that. That's all right with you, Commissioner Martin?
Yes, that is fine. I think if we can put the brakes on, if Regina and Garrow can take what we've talked about to DOT. I have no idea, Regina, we didn't ask this question before, if there's a penalty or a fee that the contractor would levy against DOT for delay. But to me, it would be well worth if there's a fee or a cost involved, unless it's something exorbitant, because we do need time to give this full further consideration.
I'm not sure of that. Normally it's a delay on the other side. I think that they cost out, but I will check to see and talk to DOT immediately tomorrow. Gerald and I can have a brief conversation. And then as Mayor Pro Tem says, we can kind of get a better understanding of what, options we think we can take forward.
Great.
To
Thank
them.
you.
I don't see how they could do anything with us and dollar wise in the form of a delay. This is something that we did not know about. I mean, we're saying, I think I want to come away from this as a commission and a city government. We didn't know anything about it.
Well, they had persons that said it. That's why I said it makes us look bad, because we did have representation. May not have been us, and what was being represented may not have come from us, but the perception is we had representation at the table.
And the perception is that the city did, they did have a go ahead in order to, get as far as they would or had on this contract. So
Well, I won't ask who gave them that go ahead. Okay, I'll stop right there. I'm done.
Okay, well, what we're gonna do then, it seems like we haven't finished out this conversation. I don't want to drag it on to the night. So it seems that it merits another conversation. We will write down all the things that have been said today and try to corral them up to put our points together. So to go back to DOT. And Regina, it's all right. It's fine with you to go back to DOT and let them know where we're going with this. So that gives them a heads up as to where we want to be anyhow, and all the options that we have presented today.
okay.
And I think that once we get it together, we'll come back. I don't want to come back another meeting. Hopefully we may be able to come back in our regular meeting on next Wednesday, or hopefully DOT can stop until then, till we get an opportunity to discuss it again. But if you will, as you put that together, send that to each commissioner and or give us a call so we can discuss where we are and what we really have said today, and to make it into one concerted document.
Yes. That would be good to see the documented options that's been offered.
Sure.
And it may be a combination of all those things that's been offered that we land on.
Sure.
Or bits and pieces from those. But anyway,
Okay.
Yeah.
Does everybody feel pretty good about that?
I'm fine with it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Mayor Harvey,
Yes.
one comment, Chief Mobley was able to join. Did you need any comments from prior today, or did you just want him to join next week?
If he's on board to talk now, he can talk.
Chief, you're muted.
Yeah, he only has 5 minutes.
Having a hard time getting it done mute there. Gloucester Street's fire department's front yard, there is a lot of traffic on Gloucester Street. We're concerned about the traffic and our response times being lowered and being hemmed in the traffic if we do go to a 2-lane. I'm not sure. I know when we have turning lanes, traffic or, they'll pile up in a turning lane and 1 lane ahead of us. So the only way we can get around it if the light's red is to go in the lane opposing, in the opposite lane opposing traffic. And we're not really supposed to do that. So I'm concerned about the traffic if we go to a 2-lane, but it's pretty tough now. But other than that, I think we have a wonderful opportunity to make some changes to Gloucester Street, and we just don't want to drop the ball. I know it's the corridor between 17 and Newcastle Street, and it's what we've been working on for the last several years to try to improve this area in downtown. And I don't know if there's a grass area. My only input is there's a grass area normally between the sidewalk and the highway, and I don't know if part of that can be utilized to work for a bike path on both sides of the road. I'm not really sure. I have to get out there and look at it, I guess, but but I don't really have much input except for I'm just concerned about our response time.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Okay, everybody, we've heard from the chief. We've heard from both chiefs, as a matter of fact. That will be all taken into consideration as well. We will also wait to hear from our stakeholders, the people who are our publics, so to speak. But meanwhile, what our city manager has taken down our thoughts and our comments. We'll take those to DOT, and then she will actually get those all together and respond back to us, so we can see exactly what's what before she takes it to DOT. That's okay with everybody?
Sounds
Yes,
good
sir.
to me.
Okay. All right. Well, we have talked all day today about this, and this is on the high priorities, and we must keep this a top priority because we are where we are with this situation. So with that, I entertain a motion so we can adjourn, and
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
motion second to adjourn. Any further questions, comments? There's none. City manager, you have your marching orders. Please get back with us as soon as possible. Garo, also, please let us know exactly your thoughts as well with all of this. So, all in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
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 Bye-bye.
Okay. See
Good evening.
everybody.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. See you in the morning, everybody.
Yep.
You're supposed to.